All right, I'm gonna cue the music. And 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to not Fraggle Rock, but the 6th episode of Live from Muppet Land. And today we are joined by our very special guest star, Shane. Welcome, Shane.
How do you do, everybody?
I be doing very howdy. Shane, my first question for you. Who are you, my friend? Who are you?
That's so deep, so philosophical, which ties into today's episode, which is
Ooh.
something also about self-affirmations or what people are and who you are on the inside and all that jazz.
Tying it into the theme. Perfect. But in all seriousness, who are you, Shane?
I am a Muppet fan from New Jersey, the best state in America, so I've been told. And I'm a big part of the fan community online. I'm part of the Muppet Wiki team and a contributor for Tough Pigs. And also, I've uploaded stuff on YouTube, if you know Marshall Grover, on there, and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, yeah, and the Twitter feed, One Muppetational Shot. That's me as well.
The award-winning Twitter feed.
That's correct.
Yes. So yeah, Shane is. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, well, thank you.
Are you ready to talk about the news? That's exciting, isn't it?
There's news.
Yeah, play that news theme. So there's not actually news this week.
Ooh, bummer.
Yeah, so my last episode was only a couple days ago, and so we had lots to talk about in that episode with new logos and stuff, but there really hasn't been that much Muppet news within the last 4 days, which is a shame. But
Well, Tango's at Sesame Place now. That's fun, I guess. Elmo's new puppy.
that's news that I didn't know. Okay, that's cool. Is it like walk around or
They do. They have both. They have a puppet that's part of the stage show that they do, and they have a new walk around, which kind of doesn't make sense to me because she's as tall as Elmo and walks on 2 legs, and is not doesn't seem like what a dog would do.
okay, I'm trying to find this now.
Go look on the wiki. Everything's on the wiki.
Everything's on the wiki. Hold on, I have the wiki open. It's funny because I
Think like Pluto at Disney in the Disney parks. You know, he's as tall as Mickey and he walks on 2 legs, but only this time it's Tango.
yeah, that's also still weird though. Like when you think about it.
Yeah,
Pluto,
because
also...
Pluto doesn't own a mortgage, but Goofy does. It doesn't
Hey, you don't
make
know.
any sense.
No, Pluto rents from Mickey. That's the whole thing. He's like a tenant.
Oh, you sleep outside as a
Yeah,
tenant.
yeah. Mickey's not a very good landlord.
I guess that's the Toontown like code. You
Yeah.
can get away with that kind of thing.
No, it's funny. I didn't know they did Tango at Sesame Place. Sesame Place is a hop, skip, and a jump from where I am. I grew up going there for the summers. It's You ever been to Sesame Place?
Oh, tons of times. I haven't been there in like very, very long time, but like every summer we'd go there.
Yeah, it's fun. But the real, well, not news, but news. Shane, I'm under the impression that you tortured yourself last Tuesday. Is that correct?
I mean, by last Tuesday, you mean this past Tuesday, as
Yeah.
in yesterday? Then yes.
So
Is that news that I torture myself?
No, but it is news that what you tortured yourself with. Because yesterday was the end of Holy Moly.
Thank goodness for that.
So, for the record, I only watched the first episode and the last episode, which might be a little cheating.
It is cheating. I will say that. Cheater.
Yes, I'm a cheater, pumpkin eater. I'm sorry, I find pumpkins delicious. I must cheat so I can eat. Shane, so you've seen all episodes, at least this season of Holy Moly, correct?
Oh, no.
Oh, you haven't?
I watched the second one in full time or in real time because I missed the week before. But I just every other week I've just been watching the Muppet parts, just skimming through on ABC.com and seeing when the Muppets show up.
Yeah, that sounds like the best way to do it. And you watch this one live though, right? On
Yeah, because it was the season finale, and they'd been ramping up all season.
oh my god,
That's something like the Muppets are going to do something big. So I
we'll,
figured,
we
well,
will
they have to do something, right?
we'll get to that, but so before we get to what happened in the finale, what did you think about the Muppet stuff in Holy Moly? In the first 9 episodes.
It was not very good.
No, it was not.
Nope.
Did,
It none of if like the height of comedy. No, not even. Because there was one thing that was really good with Big Mean Carl and a rabbit, and Big Mean Carl is always good.
yes.
But I mean, they did the same kind of joke with Animal, the Swedish Chef, and Camilla twice, and like the same exact joke twice.
They did that.
Like, oh,
I know
you
they did
can't
that.
understand the three of them. Ha 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 ha.
I So I don't understand why they put the Muppets in Holy Moly in the beginning. Like,
I mean, I never even heard of Holy Moly until this was happening, and the show's been running for 3 years beforehand.
yeah. I mean, it's again for those of you who haven't seen Holy Moly, it's Wipeout with mini golf. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And it's as entertaining as that sounds.
I mean, people like Wipeout, people like mini golf. I'm not opposed to the concept of Holy Moly. I don't. It's not for me, really. But I mean, if people enjoy it, more power to them.
Yeah. I mean, same thing. I mean, I've seen episodes of it, but like, the episodes I've seen because I was eating dinner and that's what my father had on the TV. Like, I've never chosen to watch Holy Moly, if that makes sense, before the Muppet stuff. Like, it would if it was on, sure, you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so 9 episodes of Holy Moly, and again, Shane, you've seen like the Muppet stuff. Isn't it about 2 minutes per episode of Muppet stuff, more or less?
Yeah, kind of thereabouts. If you follow Commitment on Twitter, the good fellows behind that podcast have been doing like a weekly tally of how much like Muppet stuff there has been per episode. And I haven't been keeping time, but it seems like roughly like 2 minutes ish each week. But apparently last week there was only like 40 seconds of Miss Piggy, and that was it.
I mean, 40 seconds of Piggy is better than no 40 seconds of Piggy.
I would disagree.
Oh, what were well, you've seen those 40 seconds. I haven't. How bad were those 40 seconds?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that one I didn't even bother watching. But I know that's what Commitment said, so I'm gonna believe him.
We're going to believe. All right. Matthew
But
Gator.
my mind was thinking, like that period in 2017 when all we were getting was the Muppet Thought of the Week videos. And, you could say, oh, well, at least it's 10 seconds or so of Miss Piggy. But I'm like, I would rather have nothing than those 10 seconds.
Muppet Thought of the Week is so interesting. For this show, I have a big list of everything the Muppets have ever done to put in my randomizer to, watch. And one of the things I had to make is a playlist with just every Muppet Thought of the Week. And I pray I never have to watch that. Just every single one of them, back to back.
Yeah, I don't know, they're kind of redundant
Yeah.
compared to like their Twitter.
Especially since the Thought of the Week, I know this is not what we're talking about, but the Thought of the Week, it's like 5 seconds intro, 10 seconds outro. Like, it's so repetitive. They're just not very good. I don't know what
There's very little meat on the bone of those things.
I mean, the only interesting thing that happened with the Muppet Thought of the Week is that's where we got our very first ever, Matt Vogel as Kermit. Like that's the only thing that makes them important at all.
That is true. How unfortunate is that?
Yeah, that was poor Matt Vogel. On top of everything else, his first Kermit was something nobody remember. So
Back to Holy Moly. That's what we were talking about.
yeah, we were talking about back to Holy Moly. So last night was the season and hopefully series finale of Holy Moly.
I won't say hopefully series. Let if they can keep going without the Muppets, let them. I
Yes,
just don't want to have to watch any more of it.
that's true. I hope there's not Muppets in the next season. Pause. I finally was able to find the Tango walk around, and it is weird.
Yeah, she's a big dog.
She's a big dog. Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah. So this episode, when it started, I was feeling very hopeful.
I had seen I think I had seen they put a clip up earlier of Miss Piggy getting locked in the trailer.
Oh no.
And I thought, oh, okay, they're drawing up they'll drum up some tension. And then but when how far to the end that clip happened, I started to realize, oh wait, I see what's happening.
So before that, Holy
But oh yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
yes. Before that, Holy
And
Moly starts, and there are 9. Is it 9 competitors? I don't know. There were 9 champions, and they split them up. It's golf. It doesn't. That part doesn't matter. But for the first round of elimination, guess who was in the booth?
Kermit,
Kermit, and he was kind of charming.
yeah,
It
it
was.
was it, it was nice to see him involved.
Yeah, he had a pretty good back and forth with Rob Riggle and the other guy whose name I do not remember.
It's I think it's Joe Tesscator or something like that. It's Joe T something.
Yeah, Joe Tesca. That sounds right. I think you're right. I think it is Joe Tescator. And he has this really nice back and forth. And Kermit has some fun lines. I wonder if that stuff's scripted or.
Oh, it is 100% scripted.
You think it's? Yeah, I think I.
Because they are. It's not like they're live off to the side when the golfers are actually doing their thing. The golfers are all everything of the show is all separately done.
Oh, see, I haven't looked into the filming of it. I believe every word you said. That makes a lot more sense. Um, yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah. So I don't know, but I liked the Kermit stuff in the booth was fun. It's not the greatest things the Muppets have ever done, but it was fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for this concept, it was as good as it could be. It would have been nice if Kermit had like a little jacket.
Oh, that would have been
His
adorable.
own little yellow jacket. That would have been nice.
He had headphones though. That's better than nothing.
Cute little Kermit headphones, just like in The Masked Singer.
Yeah, yeah, and it also would have been nice. Like, so spoilers. Well, not spoilers. Nobody cares about the plot of Holy Moly. Kermit's not in the booth for the rest of the episode, which I was really hoping he would be, or at least, you know what I mean. Like, I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I'd hope he'd be at least for like the entirety of round 1 or something. You know what I mean?
I didn't think it wouldn't happen. It was just he was there, kind of inexplicably there, and
Right.
then he was inexplicably not there for the rest of the show.
See, if I were them, what I would have done for every like section, I'd have a different Muppet in the booth. If they really want to go with it, I'd have Fozzie there for one part and then Gonzo for another. Like, keep switching out the Muppets and you'd be fun.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I wonder just how much of all of this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? How much of it relied on performer availability?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying.
Because like we only saw like Dave Goles, I'm pretty sure was on set, but he only did like the short thing with a rabbit with Big Mean Carl, and then just Statler and Waldorf, but that was all green screen.
Right. Now again, I haven't seen every episode, so Gonzo was not in this series at all.
Nope.
Right. Well, I mean, Dave, for the record, I'm trying to think when they would have filmed this.
That's what I'm thinking. Is like when was this done?
Like, was this done? It couldn't be too recently because they're in Mayhem right now, or I don't know if they're still filming that or whatever. But
I'm sure it was pre Mayhem.
right, it was pre Mayhem, and was it? You think maybe it was in the fall of last year, maybe? But then, like, it's like you're right. Like, what's the schedule availability? Because obviously they were. I don't know when they would have filmed this because most of those guys are busy with Sesame Street stuff in the fall, I believe.
Yeah, and then they were doing the Not Too Late show with Elmo in the early spring.
Right.
I think maybe then, because David Rudman wasn't around for this, it doesn't look like, but he was around for that show to do Cookie Monster and Baby Bear.
Yeah. Well, then again, like, what was if they? Now I understand Dave doesn't work a lot now because he's just older, and it's just kind of like I know for Fraggle Rock he didn't do any of the performing; he just did voices for the new Fraggle Rock. So I don't know if it was like he can't work all that much, and that's why,
I
or
don't
if
think it's because he's old and he can't do it. I just think it's because it's COVID.
oh yeah,
He's, it's COVID. Despite all the vaccines and what we think, and the lack of mask mandates, COVID has not gone away.
what are you talking about? It's over. What come on, Shane? There's oh, excuse me. Um, there's
And
no virus.
and Dave. Yeah, Dave is older, so he is what's the word? Immune, whatever he's
Compromise.
more susceptible
More upset. Yes.
to that kind of thing. So I can imagine that if they offered this to him, he would not want to take the risk
Yeah.
to do this kind of thing where his characters are not necessarily going to be prominent enough
Right, and I think that's
as they were in Haunted Mansion and as I assume will be in Muppets Mayhem.
right. And the other thing is that like I think part of the COVID thing is why Dave did do voice only for the Fraggle Rock. Like he's just trying to be careful, and I don't
Yeah.
blame the guy.
Yeah, that was before vaccines
Yeah,
were widely available, not wildly available.
yeah. No, well, you haven't caught a wild vaccine yet.
Nope.
Ah,
My,
okay.
my box with a stick on a string has not resulted in anything.
Oh, you gotta use a net, man. You can't use a box on a string. Come on.
Foolish me.
Well, anyway, back to Holy Moly.
Oh yeah, holy moly.
So then the entire I was so bummed because the entire episode, and apparently according to you, most of the season, they've been leading up to this giant Muppet finale.
Yeah, so yeah, the point of the Muppets being on this season of the show is that Rob Riggle thinks that, there's quote unquote budget cuts. I don't know if that's actually like part like an actual behind the scenes thing and they're like poking fun at it, or it's just like a fun thing they wanted to do on the season. But Rob Riggle wants to save the show and make sure it gets another season, and he just happens to run into Kermit at ABC. So he recruits the Muppets, and they do various things to try and save the show. Pepe kidnaps Stephen Curry at one point, and holds him hostage. And then the rest of the time, they're kind of like just doing pitches for ideas and stuff. And then they come to the conclusion, hey, Miss Piggy should do this big musical finale as the distractor for the final hole.
Right. And they're building this up through the whole episode. This Piggy, she's like in this, she got like this thing in her hair, and she's in this outfit. And the first time we see Piggy is this like 10-second clip of Rob Riggle in Piggy's dressing room. And when he leaves, he says something along the lines of, "Oh, the door sticks." And when he said that, I was like, "Darn it, they're not going to have her perform. She's going to get stuck in the dressing room, and she's not going to be able to perform." Like that, as soon as he said that, I was like, "That's where they're going." And like,
Well, see, the clip they had put up earlier was of Miss Piggy like trying to get out and finding out she was stuck, and I thought that scene with Rob Riggle was so pointless because they're even funny about it.
and it was like not even that long of a scene. Like it didn't need. This show can be entertaining. The mini golf stuff can be entertaining. I found myself rooting for the 63-year-old lady who eventually won the thing. I like it's a fun show, but the Muppet stuff with it is just so mismanaged that it just like why were they even there?
Yeah, it's almost I almost want an oral history of what this was, but I also know like there's probably not going to be a lot of positive things being said maybe about it.
Somebody get Matt Vogel on a podcast and we can just clear up everything.
Maybe he'll do a below the frame about it, huh?
Hey, Matt, I know you don't listen, but you feel free to steal our ideas.
And then give me $10 for said idea.
And give me $2. I'm not as expensive. But
Oh my.
so Piggy doesn't get to perform,
No.
which is
But
really good.
Jeannie Mai, the sideline correspondent for the show, who was a ghost in Muppets Haunted Mansion, she did a song instead.
A song begging ABC to pick them up again.
Yes. And they kind of hinted that this sort of thing would happen a couple of episodes ago,
Yeah,
where
I
Uncle Deadly introduces Piggy to Jeannie as like her understudy.
yeah, because here's the other thing. Before any of this happened, they showed like a previously on Holy Moly where
Yes, they've been doing that every week.
where I feel like they showed all of the Muppet stuff you would need to see.
Yeah, except Big Mean Carl.
Yeah, except for Big Mean Carl. You should check that out, apparently. And they showed Jeannie Mai, and in the back of my head was like, Piggy's not performing, is she? And I'm like, why not have Miss Piggy perform? Like, again, you've seen more of this than I have. Do the Muppets ever appear on the holes themselves?
Nope.
Exactly. Like,
I think it's all just these were all filmed at separate times.
I agree. I agree that's definitely what happened, but like, don't tell us for an entire season that you're going to end with a giant Muppet Spectacular and not have a giant Muppet Spectacular.
Yep. I after the show ended, I was just left with a very sour feeling.
I
felt gypped.
Yeah, I felt so bad after watching that. I had to go and watch an episode of The Muppet Show to make myself feel better.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Hal Linden, great episode.
It is. He plays the clarinet and everything.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to some other stuff, any other thoughts on Holy Moly as a whole?
As a whole.
Oh, I didn't even. Gosh darn it! Ugh. I didn't even.
I hope they don't make this kind of mistake again.
I agree. Now, before we move on to our main topic, Shane, I've got a question for you. I ask every guest on my podcast. Who plays Jim in the biopic?
I don't know. John Krasinski?
You know what? The last person I asked this said the same thing. So I think
he's got a similar build, and he could grow a beard pretty well.
No, I think we have Rob Riggle do it.
No.
I'm kidding. That would be terrible.
Keep him as far away as possible.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Shane, are you ready to talk about what we are talking about this week?
Probably.
We are talking about Fraggle Rock Season 2, Episode 6, Boober's Dream.
Hooray!
Hooray! So, Shane, what is your connection to Fraggle Rock as just as a series as a whole?
Well, I did not really grow up with it the way a lot of people did. The first time I ever really saw it was when they started to put out, put out some of those DVDs.
I can see those DVDs right from where I'm sitting, actually.
And then the box sets came out, and that's pretty much how I got into the show. And it's great.
Yeah. I haven't seen as much of Fraggle Rock as I wish I have. I own the box sets, though I watched the episode this week on Apple TV. But yeah, I know. I like Fraggle Rock.
You should watch it all.
Yeah, I should watch it all. I'm really bad at watching series to completion, though.
I am too, but you gotta do it.
Yeah, I still haven't seen every episode of the original Muppet Show.
You gotta do it. Watch it all.
I'm getting there.
Don't sleep. Watch it all.
I'm currently in the middle of trying to get through all of Glee, but that's a different story.
Skip Glee. Watch The Muppet Show.
Gotcha.
It's a better version of Glee.
For the record, I have 6 episodes left, so I think I'm almost there.
All right.
Well, 6 episodes plus the 2 that aren't Disney Plus, so really 8. But I don't know how to find those 2. But that's a whole different.
I will not encourage the use of external websites. for watching copyrighted material.
Yes, piracy is bad, kids. Anyway, so yeah, no, I like Fraggle Rock. Yeah, Boober's Dream was, like I said, season 2, the 6th episode of season 2. This episode was written by Jocelyn Stevenson and directed by George Bloomfield. And before we kind of take a deep dive, what was your thoughts on this episode?
I liked it. Very, very funny.
Yeah. All right, thanks for joining us on. No, I'm kidding. So first off, we get that iconic Fraggle Rock theme song.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Fraggle Rock theme song. Isn't it just delightful?
Yes. Can't go wrong with it.
Yes.
I kind of wish that they had reshot it at some point, so they didn't use the first not so good Gobo. But what can you do?
Yeah, it's funny because they would redo the Muppet Show theme song every season.
They did. Sometimes not very well.
Yeah, I like all of the theme songs. I know people have favorites and like some more than others, but I think they're all just good. Like, I don't know, maybe I like too much.
The season 4 one where they chop it in half.
Okay, it's a little lame they chop it in half, but all right. So we start this with Doc and Sprocket eating breakfast and complaining about Doc's dream where he it's very implied that he saw Fraggle in his dream give him a red striped sock for whatever reason. But my one thing I want to point out with this scene is that at one point Sprocket steals Doc's Raisin Bran and pours it in his bowl.
He does. Just a fun bit of puppetry business for Steve.
Yeah. I always forget Steve does the dog too. Whenever I think of Fraggle Rock and Steve, I go straight to Wembley's. I always forget he does Sprocket.
How could you forget Sprocket?
How could you forget Sprocket? No, if I ever had a dog, that would be. If I had a dog with a name Ralph or Sprocket? Would that be close?
Depends if he could play the piano.
That's true. I'd have to test out if that dog could play the piano. So then we got, speaking of Gobo, even though we talked about Gobo like a minute ago, speaking of him, he comes in and steals his postcard from Uncle Traveling Matt, and Wembley's with him, and Wembley repeats himself a little bit, and Wembley tells Gobo he's got to, go hang with Boober, and then he says, Gobo says something to the line of "Boober's as boring as a potato," and then Wembley says a phrase that I now need on a T-shirt. Well, I always thought potatoes were a riot.
That's it. That was a good line.
It was a good line. It's hard to talk about stuff that's good, isn't it?
The whole show is good.
The whole show's good. That's really all I can say is that everything here was good. When there's bad stuff, it's more fun to talk about.
That's true too. Yeah.
But then again, the Muppets didn't do that many bad stuff. But hey, Holy Moly, I consider that kind of bad.
I think. We're getting to the point where the bad stuff might outnumber the good stuff.
Yep. Well, anyway, so then, real briefly, did you notice that Wembley banged his head on the way out?
Oh, he always bangs his head on that pipe.
Oh, is that again? I haven't seen a Fraggle Rock, so that's like a running gag.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's one where he misses it, and then he bangs his head on a different pipe.
I'm really gonna start watching this show. So then Wembley goes into Boober's room, and Boober's dreaming. And when Boober describes Sidebottom, who we'll talk about a little later, he calls him a green potato, and obviously he's just kind of describing himself because Sidebottom just looks like him. Is Boober green?
Maybe. Maybe he's like a blue green.
See, I always think he's like a more lighter blue. That's weird.
I think it might depend on, the puppet at the time. Maybe I don't know I don't know how he was made, what the actual material was, but it could have just changed color slightly between seasons.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. My other question is a little more goofy. Do you think Boober looks like a potato?
I mean, he's kind of rotund in a way that the other Fraggles are not, perhaps.
Yeah, he's got that.
And he doesn't have potatoes have eyes. Boober doesn't have eyes, but he has sort of like a blankness to his face, much like a potato.
So, in closing, Boober is a potato,
He could be potentially.
potentially. So then they go to the trash heap, and she expels some of her trashy wisdom. And then Boober and Wembley do dream sharing, which I believe this is the first time we see Fraggles be able to do this.
Yes.
This is an interesting concept, being able to like you sleep right next to somebody and you guys can like share a dream. Like that's an interesting thing. Like I kind of like that. I don't know if they ever do it again, but it's nice.
Well, they do it in the. Well, I mean, they kind of do it in the new
Right.
Fraggle Rock.
It's funny. I haven't seen every episode of the original, but I've seen every episode of the reboot.
Well, there's 13 episodes of that versus 96
Yeah.
of the original.
So I think that's yeah. I like the. So you've seen the reboot?
Yep,
It's good, right?
it's terrific.
Yeah, it's great. Watch the reboot. It's good. It's on Apple TV. But yeah, so they do kind of. I know what I know what scene you're talking about because they sing a song from this episode in that one.
They do.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like the dream sharing thing. It's fun, and then they go into Boober's head, and we get to meet Sidebottom.
We do.
You like Sidebottom, don't you?
He's fun.
He's really fun.
And it's nice, like Dave Goelz gets a character that can like cut loose.
Yeah. Dave doesn't really get too many cut loose characters, does he?
Like Gonzo.
Yeah, but sometimes Gonzo, yeah. But I feel like Gonzo is very different from what kind of cut loose Sidebottom is.
I think it depends on what Gonzo is doing at the moment.
That's also true.
Gonzo is not always on, but Sidebottom is always on.
Right. And Sidebottom he's not in a lot of episodes, but he is a recurring character as well, which I think is interesting to point out. I know he's in 2 other episodes besides this.
He is.
And I remember, I think my first time ever it was introduced to him was because he's on the Great Muppet Mural that Tough Pigs did last year. I think that was the very first time I ever realized he existed.
Oh my goodness, where have you been?
I've been busy watching the good Muppet stuff, like the Julie Andrews Hour and Julie Andrews 1-to-1.
I mean, there's good stuff in those.
Yeah. Oh, completely forgot to mention that like we had to vote on a poll on what we were watching, which I kind of sometimes like to mention the things we didn't watch. Thankfully, you and I didn't have to sit through a bunch of bad YouTube videos. We also didn't have to watch Sesame Street, which probably would have been fun. And we were so close to watching an episode of Muppets Tonight, but alas, we got quote unquote stuck with Fraggles. But I would like to now mention my one, and this isn't really that big of a negative, but it is a bit of a negative. Some of the visual effects in this episode don't look great, but it was, this is a TV episode from over almost 40 years ago, so I can kind of like forgive that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also, well, chroma keying puppets especially is not easy.
No, I know
because they have all that fur and that hair.
Mm-hmm. Trust me, I know hair on a filter or green screen I have wild hair myself, so it's very hard to do filtered stuff like that. Like it's hard to do puppets on green screen. And I mean, it's not a terrible job. I watched this episode twice, and I actually thought it looked better the second time I watched it. But it's also not great. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's good for what it is. I think
for what it is.
The earlier episodes of the show, the blue screening is a lot worse than this.
It could always be worse. I've seen some earlier Fraggle Rock, and I know what you're talking about. And yeah, it could be worse. So then they leave Sidebottom's little area, but Wembley promises to go back, and we catch the Fraggles in a game of Fraggle Freeze, which comes back as a plot device, which I was not expecting. Fraggle Freeze looks fun.
It just looks like tag.
Yeah, it is tag, but fun tag.
Or, I mean, freeze tag.
Well, freeze tag.
Freeze tag is the variant.
Yes. Oh no! Don't bring up variants. I thought we were done talking about COVID.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Loki.
Ugh. I'm doing the Fozzie gif right now. Anyway, so then Boober's like, no, we should do something boring. And then Red says, I love Red so much. He says, boring? How about we read a postcard from Gobo's Uncle Matt?
Yep, I love Red and her disdain for everything traveling Matt.
That's just great. I love the Red and Matt hates. It's one of her best characteristics. Then we get something I was not expecting. So we get Uncle Traveling Matt talking about dreams, and like he thinks cars are creatures, and they're at a drive-in movie theater, and he says like, "Oh, they're all dreaming together," and he shows the dream, and I was thinking he's gonna be like some stock 50s sci-fi movie or something, but then around I hear bow now, and I'm like, is that the Dark Crystal? And turns out it was the Dark Crystal.
Yeah. They're probably very easy to license.
Yeah, that's
why they did it, I bet.
Probably why they did it. Labyrinth wasn't out yet, and I didn't think they'd want to use a Muppet movie, so yeah.
That would have been a little too
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially since Kermit would be Fraggle a few years later.
He would. But Kira and Jen wouldn't.
No, they don't get to go to Muppet Family Christmas.
No. There's no Christmas in Thra.
I'm sure they have a Christmas-like holiday. I bet it's fun.
Crystal Day.
Yeah. But no, I got so excited when I saw the Dark Crystal, because it's funny because I watched that movie again. I've seen it before, but I saw it last week, so it was like very fresh in my mind when it popped up.
I've only seen it once, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, I take it you're with me and don't love that movie.
Nope.
It's beautiful.
I will not deny that there is a lot of artistry and effort behind it, but it just does nothing for me.
It is boring as tar.
Hey, watching Tar is fun. You know, seeing stuff sink in Tar. That could be interesting.
Yeah. A brief tangent on the Dark Crystal. I think the main characters are very boring, but watching the Skeksis is amazing. I love the Skeksis scenes, but everything outside of that is just kind of whatever.
The Skeksis are good because they are much better puppets than the Gelflings.
Yeah, the Gelflings creep me out too.
They can't emote.
No,
like their mouths barely open.
But we're not talking about the Dark Crystal.
We're talking about Holy Moly.
No, we're talking about Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock.
Okay. Excuse me. And then Wembley ends up convincing Boober to let everybody else dream. I almost did dream sharing, but I'm pretty sure that's what they do in the Dark Crystal.
I'm sure there's something in there. I don't remember what it is though.
It is dream sharing in Fraggle Rock. Anyway, so they dream share and they sing a cute little song called "Dream a Dream." Is actually in they redid that one for the reboot. I like that song. I think it's really sweet.
Yeah, I mean, all Fraggle music is great.
Oh,
there's no duds.
No, it's Fraggle Rock. And the other thing I love about Fraggle Rock is that, like, they can do whatever genre of music they want. Like, it's never just one genre, and it's great. I love Fraggle Rock music.
They can, and it all sounds like it fits. Like I guess it's just like the musicians they have. They all keep the songs. They're all different genres, but they all sound like they belong together.
Right. Now, when they go into the dream for the second time, did you notice the little doozer with angel wings?
I did.
I have nothing else to say about that, but I just thought I would bring it up because it's important people know that exists.
I just noticed it because I think we have a page on the wiki for like cupids and like cherubs and that kind of thing, and it made me think of that. I don't know if that dude's in there, but he should be.
Oh, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I have the wiki open. We will find this out live.
I think it's just Cupid.
Cupid. Okay. But anyway, here, we can talk while I'm looking it up. So they go in, and Sidebottom's ecstatic, and they're playing around, they're jumping around. Boober is. You are going to have to update this page when we're done.
Oh no.
Because the Cupid Doozer is not there.
Well, I mean, he might not be Cupid.
That's
He
not
just might be a cherub.
for angels on Muppet Wiki.
We do have a page for angels.
Okay, let me go to that page.
I don't think he's on there either.
We're gonna look it up. We are doing investigative journalism right now, live. Oh, hold on. When I typed in, I got the TV show Angel.
Oh,
Which also,
that's a good show too.
so hold on. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like he's Angel page either.
Whoops.
So somebody's gonna have to fix that later.
By somebody, we mean me.
Yeah, so by somebody I'm gonna check back later, and I hope it's there. Take your time though. Anyway, so there's the weird Angel Doozer, and then they play around for a little bit. I just like seeing Sidebottom interact with the characters. It's pretty fun.
He is fun. He doesn't interact with anybody but Boober after this, though, which is kind of disappointing.
Oh well,
Not to spoil it,
spoiler.
but in the future episodes, like he's almost just like an imaginary like friend to Boober in a way.
That's kind of sweet though.
Yeah.
I almost saw Sidebottom as like, this might be my inner, person who, I kind of saw Sidebottom as almost like a other personality to Boober. I recently took a class on psychology, and we talked about multiple personality disorder, and I was just kind of seeing that into it. Maybe that was just my brain seeing something into some place it wasn't, but
I mean, I don't. It's not like, oh, Boober is Boober, and then he has this other personality that's like British or something.
No,
and doesn't know how to cook or do laundry. This is just like a facet of Boober that he doesn't explore.
So it is like just like keeping your personality hidden almost. Like there's definitely you could read psychology into it. Maybe not multiple personality disorder per se.
I think it's more like that id, ego, and super ego thing.
That's a little bit, yeah, that's closer to what it is.
Sidebottom is Boober's id.
Ooh, what would Boober's super ego look like?
The whoopee cushion.
Yeah, man, I'm so glad you brought that up. Is that what whoopee cushions looked like back then? Because like when I think of whoopee cushion, I think of like a pink rubbery balloon that you.
It looks like an ordinary seat cushion, but it goes whoopee a lot.
Yeah, like it's a funny joke, but like I almost wonder if that was like built for like a Muppet Show sketch or something else, and they just used it because that's what they had on hand. Oh wait, there's actually, hold on, I should have brought this. There's a page on the flying. Of course, there's a page on the flying whoopee cushion on Muppet Wiki, and he was only ever used in this one episode.
Yep. Froggle Rock is full of these one-off puppets.
Apparently, Doozer Angels, whoopee cushions, all this fun stuff. So then Sidebottom tricks the gang into playing a game of Fraggle Freeze, where they literally get stuck in midair, which I thought was a cool-looking effect, kind of, actually.
Yes, because they only promised to visit him once, and if that one time doesn't end, then he won't have to not see them again. I hope that made sense.
Yes, it does. Because they will have to visit him forever.
Yes.
And after this, and I only want to touch on this briefly, they cut to a brief scene of the Fraggles, like their bodies in the real world, and They make some weird noises. I'll leave it at that.
They're in an uncomfortable situation.
That is true. So then Boober, they're kind of joking around, and at one point Boober tackles Sidebottom basically,
He does and pins him to the ground,
pins him to the
and
ground.
that looks really neat.
It does look really neat. I love seeing those two interact with each other. And then they kind of talk it out, and Sidebottom lets everybody go. And then they sing another song called "Party Hard," which again is great.
Also, really good.
Yeah, I do want to bring to attention one line in particular. Boober mentions, "I like it in my own backyard."
I like my own backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen every episode of the show, but do the Fraggles have backyards?
No, not really. They live in caves.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. How could you have a yard in a cave?
Well, a lot of the Fraggle songs have things like that are human related. That obviously, the song "Catch a Tail by the Tiger." They don't know what a tiger is, or what a bull is, or taxes are mentioned in that song. And I don't think the Fraggles pay taxes, so.
Now I just want to see that episode.
Oh, Catch the Tail by the Tiger?
No, Catch the Tail by the Taxes. I want to see the episode where the Fraggles have to pay taxes.
Pay tax. Oh, it's one radish. Whatever income you make off of 30 minutes a week.
But then, they all go off on their Fraggly business, and the day of save, Sidebottom's still with Boober a little bit.
Well, they kind of fuse together in a way.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about the Doc and Sprocket subplot all that much, because there's really not much to talk about. But I've seen more Doc and Sprocket. It's not my favorite subplot they've done, but I don't know. It was nice. It tied into the main plot well, like they usually do.
I like the idea, dreams are complicated things, and especially for a kid's show, to talk about what are dreams in a very psychological way. And I like it when the things of the Fraggle world bleed into the real world in very subtle ways. Like when Doc is looking through his book, he finds something about little green men with workman helmets. And those are doozers, but
that's doozers.
How would people know what doozers are? It's just a small little touch of magic that escaped from the rock.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Doc and Sprocket stuff is so great. Sprocket might be one of my favorite Muppets because he's just such a he's a dog. He's basically a real dog. And I think he's very adorable. I think he's the cutest character, at the very least in Fraggle Rock. Though the Fraggles are adorable too. Let's be honest.
It's great how much personality you can get from a character who does not speak coherently. He makes noises, but that's not dialogue.
Yeah, he goes and he speaks, but he doesn't speak.
Yes, he does the Tim Allen thing, but with a little more personality.
Yeah. He's not a Rolf or Goofy. He's very much a Pluto or a Tango.
That's true, but we don't know a whole lot about Tango.
We're tying everything in together.
Yes, I bet they'll go golfing like on Holy Moly.
And then they'll go edit the Muppet Wiki to add something to the Angels page.
And then I'll revert it because it's vandalism.
Anyway, any other thoughts on this episode before we wrap it up?
There's a lot of funny lines. I forgot a lot of them, but one of them I think was Boober prides himself on his distinct inability to guffaw, or something like that.
I was gonna bring it up because the first time it said guffaw, but I think it was just the mispronunciation of goof off.
No, guffaw is a kind of laugh.
Oh, see, I'm just dumber than I thought I was, and I already thought I was pretty dumb.
That's okay.
We're all a little dumb inside. And
That's where our brains are.
I should say, I think what else. This episode was also re-released as a ViewMaster reel in the 80s.
Oh, well, good for that. Like the actual like the picture, you have to flick the thing and the pictures
Yep.
in the camera. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is a visually interesting show. I can see how that would work.
Oh yeah, the Muppets have a bunch of ViewMasters. Actually, I don't have any of the Fraggle ones, but I have a couple of the Muppet Show ViewMaster reels with me. Not on me, but they're in this room somewhere.
I don't have any of them anymore.
I don't even own.
They are long gone.
I don't own a ViewMaster. I just have the reels somewhere.
I don't either.
Uh, well, anyway, no, I thought the episode was pretty great, and yeah, I think that's all I got to say about Fraggle Rock. At least this one episode. I'm sure we could talk about the actual like the entire series for another 4 hours, but we don't have time for that.
No, but it's a good show. Everyone should watch it.
Yes, everybody should watch Fraggle Rock, especially this episode. It's a very good episode. So right before we wrap it up, you got anything to plug, Shane?
I don't think so. Just read Muppet Wiki, read Tough Pigs. There's some fun stuff coming there at some point that I'm behind that I will not spoil yet, but it should be really good.
Tell them to follow the account, Shane.
Oh yeah, follow your account?
No, your account.
Oh my. Well, you can follow at One Muppet Shot for one Muppetational shot. I mean, you could follow my personal account at Sockjaw if you want to. I sometimes usually tweet about Muppet stuff, but other things as well. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Read the wiki, read Tough Pigs, read all the stuff.
As for me, make sure go if you haven't already and you found this podcast because of Shane. Go back and listen to the previous episodes. Episodes 1 through 4 are currently on YouTube. Episode 5 should be on YouTube soon. Follow my account if you'd like to. I'm also on Instagram under the same handle, but I barely post anything there. That's just a backup space. Stay tuned for more episodes of the podcast. If you haven't already, you can still time to nominate songs for my upcoming poll. It's Twitter Song of the Summer, and then I think August 12th we will be doing the top 5 Muppet Twitter songs of the summer live on Spaces, a little radio show. The voting poll for that should come out next week, I believe. But yeah, follow my account, follow Shane's stuff. Shane, thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Whoops.
What was that?
Sorry, I was playing something on my computer.
Well, speaking of playing something on the computer, I'm going to roll our credit music. So, Shane, thank you so much again, and we will see you next time live from Muppet Land. And cue exit music.